Hi everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood Overlord here, and remember how recently I made a video discussing the fall anime of 2018, and my speculations as to what they were going to be like, and what I was expecting of them. So, if you remember, if you did watch the video, and if you didn't, shameless plug, it's in the description, you should go check it out, it's a really good video. I went over a video called Tensei Shitara Slime Datta Ken, which translates roughly to that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Like, what I said was the fact that I had no idea how they were going to develop this as an anime, and I thought this was just going to be a random, no-plot comedy, which, you know what, take everything that I said and just sort of kick it out the window. Yeah, just forget about everything that I said, because this anime is actually not that bad. It reminds me a lot of, actually, of Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody, or Death March Kara Hijimaru Isake Kuyusakyuku? I don't know, I probably butchered that horrendously. In which case, the main protagonist basically gets to cheat the entire game that he was transported to, and basically skip a bunch of levels and become an overpowered character. Which sort of goes into this anime, and we can already see that the main protagonist, which is Satoru Mikame, probably will end up being an overpowered mother effer. So, from already obvious factors that this is a comedy anime, adventure and action, blah blah blah, even though it has some drama and etc., the anime has some decent plot, and to be frank, I am in love. So currently there's only 2 episodes released as of Monday the 8th. So in those 2 episodes we have not seen a lot. We have seen a few things that actually could explain certain things in the story that we have not gotten direct explanations of, such as the very first scene of the anime where Japan is being bombed. And just by this scene alone we can say for sure that this does not follow the same timeline as our world. So this is a whole different world already away from the fantasy one. And this starting scene actually intrigues me a lot. I didn't really get it at the start, but once I got through the 2 episodes, I started speculating a lot. If you didn't watch the anime, basically what happens is it starts off focusing on a girl and a mother. They are running away from being bombed, but a lot of debris hits the mother and ends up killing her. But before the girl gets bombed, what happens is she gets enveloped in this hurricane of fire, as to what I would like to explain it as, and she basically gets transported to another world. And this is the first thing we see of any transportation or magic in this world. But mind you, this is the real world. This is in the past. We get no context as to what this is and who this is. And I got some speculations for this, but I'm gonna get to it in the later aspects of these explanation. So what happens later is we cut to years later, and we are now in this well-developed, what you would call 2018 kind of city. Our main character is shown, and he is a handsome mother effer. He is a single 32-year-old, if I'm correct. And yes, if you read the synopsis, he does die. Basically what happens, in the synopsis they say that he gets killed by a robber, but the way they sort of show it in the anime isn't really showed as a robber, it's showed more of just as a murder. Because what happens is, he meets up with his friend and his wife or girlfriend, they don't really explain. He meets up with them and they invite him over for dinner, which is great. He goes over to them, and then all they see is a guy running with a, probably, I want to say like an 8-inch blade at them. He runs over at the girl. What happens is, Satoru's friend starts trying to block his girlfriend from the blow, but since Satoru, being the courageous protagonist that he is, he lunges in front of him and gets stabbed. And of course, as we know, he dies. But in the middle of that dying process, he hears this voice, which you can only explain, to be honest, as an AI. An AI of a game, almost, is the best I think I can explain it. It's almost as if he's creating a character within a video game while dying. Then he picks an array of things that he wants to be when in his next life, but he sort of picks them without wanting to, because he's sort of just saying these things and thinking of them, and this quote-unquote AI is writing them down. But there are a few noteworthy ones, such as, I want to say it's a scholar, but it's not exactly a scholar because it's more of just a very wise person. I don't exactly can't think of the name right off the top of my head, which is for that. which is a unique skill that lets him communicate with this AI throughout the entire story. And he also gets a special ability called Hunter. I think is basically the main aspect as to why this main character, or Satoru rather, is very powerful. He gets these skills and he is reincarnated in this new world. But when he's reincarnated, he can't see, he can't do crap. He ends up figuring out, okay, he's a slime, and he figures out what his body can and cannot do. He figures out that because of this ability, he has the ability to take on the characteristics of what he kills and what he digests. And also because he's bored half the time he's doing half these things, he ends up basically eating a bunch of plants and making a bunch of potions, and quote-unquote just in case. But we all know, or at least I think, that these are gonna play a bigger part later, as we are hinting at. Because if you watch the other anime that I mentioned, Death March, the Parallel World Rhapsody, basically the main character gets spawned in a area and gets lucky and gains a lot of levels, therefore becoming an overpowered character. And this is basically goes into Tensei Shitara Slime Datta Ken, because the main character literally spawns in a cave full of magical stuff and therefore is able to gain levels and gain power extremely quickly. So over time, he gains certain skills like being able to swim over water, which I find hilarious, just the way they show it off, until he ends up crashing to a transparent magical wall and hears a magical creature, which we can all see is a dragon. But since Satoru can't actually see crap, he doesn't know this and gets freaked the hell out when he finally figures out that it's a dragon, thanks to an ability called Magic Sense, I think that's what it's called. Forward on, him and the dragon make friends, which is basically the end of the first episode. And then going on to episode 2, the dragon basically teaches him a little about the world, about how the world is structured and how the rules in this world are. And the main rule in this world is the strongest wins. In this world, they're talking about basically, in quote-unquote, you can say slavery, because people are summoning these heroes to help in defeating strong monsters such as this dragon. Basically, what happened is one of the heroes is the one that trapped the dragon because he underestimated one of the heroes. And if you look close enough in the preview, or the opening rather, of the anime, you can see the hero that is pictured in the anime. And this hero looks an awful like the girl that was transported, or may I say rather summoned, to this world. But continue with the story, what the dragon and Satoru end up doing is they end up doing a name sort of pact, and they each make a name for each other, and each of that name becomes their last name, sort of. The name Satoru makes up for the dragon is his last name, which is Tempest. Furthermore, they try to figure out on how to get Tempest out. So what they end up doing is Satoru uses the skill Hunter, which lets him eat and absorb anything at this point, and he ends up absorbing that Tempest is locked inside of. So now basically Tempest's lock is inside of him. The rest of the episode basically continues as Satoru just walking around and defeating monsters, absorbing their skills and becoming stronger and stronger until he ends up finding the way out. But not long after he escapes, he basically meets a horde of goblins, which seem really weak and unable to fight for their life. And they seem to almost praise him. And what happens is the fact that he gets invited to them because he ends up just getting pulled in by them into their village because he can't resist. And he figures out the fact that he's been emitting Tempest's aura, which apparently was shining out of him because he had enveloped Tempest. So therefore, they mistaken him for Tempest. And they ask for his protection. In return, they say that they will be forever in debt to him. And this, I think, is one of the major plot progressions in this story, because the moment I think he will become the leader of the goblins, this sort of will develop into like almost maybe a praise for him. He will get his name out there, and then others will know of him, and so on, and eventually he will build this party that we know of and we see in the opening and such as that. And I see really good things of this. But I'm actually just really interested in knowing how strong Satoru really is, because we see the fact that he has Tempest's aura, but whether he has his strength is a complete other topic. And we know that he is strong because he can kill monsters with one foul swoop, like the snake that he killed in the cave. But we will have to see whether he can actually defeat these wolves, or terror wolves, midnight wolves, or whatever they're actually called, to see how the plot progresses. And I'm really interested to see how this anime progresses, because as much as people say that overpowered characters have very little character development, which sometimes is fair, I think that this anime will have very, very interesting, really interesting plotline with the way it's been developed so far in these 2 episodes. It's been going fairly slow, but from the way I see it, this anime could be a masterpiece if it's well done and it's not just... I think if they don't rush this and they sort of try to go a little bit more into the details and the story, I think the anime will be great. As long as they don't mess up the ending, I think it will be great. And right now, as of right now, I don't think there's a set amount of episodes that are gonna come out, so we can't safely say that this will be a 12-episode series. And to be frank, I'm actually really hoping that it is not, because at the rate that the anime is going right now, we haven't seen a lot of progression in the past 2 episodes, and if they take the time to make a 24-part series, I think that'll just let the anime run at a much better scale and speed, and let the anime jump to the great spot that it already is in. The thing that's been bothering me, and it's almost scaring me a bit, is how does Satoru get his male form? Like, I remember, like I said, I couldn't tell which is the main character, the slime or the girl-looking boy that's in the picture, but apparently he's both. The blue-haired boy is the main character. He's also a slime. So basically, my main fear is the fact that they're gonna turn this a little bit more darker than it really needs to be. But, you know, that's just my own speculations, and nothing is set in stone so far, not even the episodes, and frankly, I am excited to see where this progresses. And if you guys enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more, then please don't forget to hit that like button. Go in the comments below. Tell me if I got anything wrong. I would gladly talk with you about it, and see and change if I really got that many things wrong, or if I didn't go over something, then please tell me in the comments below. I would love to hear your comments and as to what you have to say. So yes, if you guys like what you saw today and you would like to see more, then hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, all that good stuff, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. This is me signing off, and see ya.